มันจะรวยไม่หยุดใครจะมาฉุดก็ไม่อยู่
แล้วก็กลับเข้าสู่การเสวนาค่ะในหัวข้อ Stand Out Franchise กันต่อเลยนะคะยังมีประเด็นที่น่าสนใจรออยู่อีกเพียบเลยค่ะเชิญชมได้เลยค่ะ
Or someone who ever study in abroad, they come back, they know Pizza Hut, they got the brand pin in mind. The brand pin in mind, oh, this logo that means Pizza Hut. When people come for pizza, they feel different from you eat the gang, ข้าวราดแกง different.
Okay.
So they feel that this is regular meal, not regular meal, but special meal for people. So we build the market from that time. But Pizza Hut in PepsiCo period that we opened the first store in Pattaya. That with wrong thinking. We thought that we sell pizza for foreigners, sell pizza for tourists, but wrong. The strong customer should be Thai people, not foreigners, not tourists.
That's a good point. Because sometimes when you think that you bring international franchise, international brand come to Thailand or in Asia, you might think that you will support the foreigner, support the Falang in Thailand, or call it Falang or expat to come here. But actually, the main target is Thai people or Asian people also. In Singapore, the same thing, right? Okay.
Can I add a
Yeah,
point?
you can add that.
I think the other factor is actually to be the prime mover, to come in early. McDonald's and KFC came in because they want to establish themselves as the leaders, basically in fast food, quick service restaurants in Southeast Asia, and they're willing to basically take that challenge. And all said, today actually KFC does very well. I was with KFC Indonesia in the late 80s and early 90s.
Yes.
Developed.
Wow.
Yeah, that was quite a
So
few
you start KFC in Indonesia.
Yeah, and one of the biggest issues that we face is to basically find good chicken. We had problems finding chicken, a very simple commodity. But at that time, we all say it's so easy, right? I mean, you go to the market, you buy chicken. At that time, when I joined the company in 1988, when I was appointed, we had 25 restaurants, right? And the owner had basically, he held the franchise for 9 years. And I went there on a contract and basically opened up the market. So we not only have to find chicken, which was a big issue because KFC has got this standard of having broiler chicken. So you need to have a standard size chicken, 1.1, 1.2 kg. When we opened up in the smaller towns, we found that we couldn't get this chicken. It was so difficult, and we have to fly in the chicken basically from Jakarta, and then we go to all the way to like Balikpapan, and Borneo, and then we went up to basically Sulawesi up north, and that was a big challenge. But KFC was willing to basically grow the business, establish themselves as the leader, ahead of the other fast food chains, the other casual dining chains. So they're willing to basically take that challenge. Yeah.
Okay. So it look like simple. You think that the raw material
sounds easy, but it's not so easy.
Yeah, sounds easy. That time you think it's hard. I believe that right now in current situation, you think that time is hard, but today you have the raw material everywhere. But I think the business is more harder.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Right. But I believe that time technology not involved in 20 years that time. So yeah. But you know that time there's management about that kind of brand. Have you from Taiwan, right?
No, I'm actually from Malaysia.
Are you from Malaysia?
Yeah, I've been working in Malaysia for 10 years. Then I'm moving to here in Thailand.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that you see any change during the time for 10 years.
Yeah.
When you're coming into technology.
Yeah.
And hardware to go to retail, even in the F&B business as well, right?
Yeah. Earliest time they are using the cash registers, and later on they come to the post machine, the electronic post machine, and also the credit card payments machine.
Yes.
And now they even have the you know the digital signage, the digital e-menu board, kind of like that. And
All right.
even some shop they have the customer survey to check the customer satisfaction. Yeah.
So, and that yeah, you can add that back time we have to see the just a cashier, the POS, simple POS. But I believe that today also that's kind of thing when they started business, right? Okay.
Yeah,
TK?
just to add to what Matrix said, I think this a lot of operators are using what they call the e-menu, the electronic menu. So it captures, I think, customers from afar, even before they reach a restaurant. And there's a little device, right, Matrix. And in Singapore, the Singapore government encourages this. And what they do is any operator, food operator who uses this e-menu or high-tech digital technology where they can reduce labor costs, the government gives $20,000, Singapore government. And it allows basically the company to kind of like put in some of this money and then drive greater revenue. But at the same time, where you come in, I think there is that added technology in Singapore itself. And many operators are using it now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
In fact, there's also one matters about the printing. It's also quite a tedious job, and they need to print so many menu and distribute to
Maybe.
let's say thousands of shops.
that's
across-
costless.
Yeah, that's costless for distributing the e-menu. They have to change the menu day by day, time by time.
That's faster than 20 years ago.
Yeah, and
Much faster.
And maybe 10 years ago, you said this kind of things is quite luxury, but now it's very common. It's like a supermarket products like that way.
That's really drive the market faster. Yeah, I think believe that. But by the way, at that time, for the back 10 years, even the Pizza Hut, McDonald's, KFC, everything, try to do that without the technology. How did they work and make it more successful for international way, like for franchise?
Well, I guess so basically all franchisors has SOPs, standard processes, standard systems, and it is no different. Fast food, casual dining, cafe business, pizza business, it's all the same. The franchisee follows the franchisor's model, right? And the challenge is that basically you find the franchisee pays the franchisor a certain royalty for the support that comes, right? But sometimes you find the franchisee doesn't follow the systems so much.
Okay.
So you find that there are shortcuts. I will tell you KFC, for example. Very interesting.
Yeah, give some experience. How do they?
Okay,
It's out of the menu, right?
Work on both sides of the fence. I was in KFC International. I was franchising director for Southeast Asia and China, and then after that took up the assignment in KFC Indonesia as CEO. So when I was visiting the markets in Hong Kong, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, we find that some franchisees are very creative. They have their own ideas. Like Indonesia, we've got rice. That's how KFC started having rice and chicken, and it was very, very successful. But we also find that although KFC has got this original recipe, franchisees will find means and ways of reusing some of these ingredients, to basically reduce costs. So the franchisor's role become a bit more difficult because you've got to ensure that basically the standards are there, the quality control is there. Just like in Utoya, Dr. Vichai would face the same issues. So one of the things that we found when we visited countries is, the franchisee is very clever. They will come to you, says, hey, come, let's go and visit, the restaurants and visit the markets, And they would always say, yes, you see, they give me, this is what I do, this is a formula, this is what we basically follow. But after being in the business long enough, you can see whether, you can taste whether the chicken is basically actual original recipe KFC chicken. Very easy. And markets like in Thailand, KFC, extra crispy is very popular because you don't have to follow standards that much, it's only flour. You get 1.2 kilo you bread normal flour and you cook, right? You don't have to follow original recipe. And you do very well. You do extremely well because the cost is so much lower. You don't have to follow original recipe. And in Thailand, extra crispy and hot and crispy contribute 70 to 80% of the total sales.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you let the franchisee do by themselves?
Well, the franchisee still has got to come back to the franchisor to say, I
Or
want to try
they
something
prepare and
different.
just show back to you, and
Yeah.
is that the way how to change and understand the culture?
I think it's basically understanding the landscape, the needs of the landscape, right?
Okay.
So original recipe is something that KFC pushes very hard because it's their hero, the number one hero item.
Okay.
But then they say in Thailand, people do not like to eat original recipe because the taste is different. Huh? I don't know. I mean, so the franchisee says at that time, Pepsi and Central, say, we must have something different. So KFC had what they call hot and crispy and spicy, but it doesn't sell well in the other markets. So Thailand basically decided to put a lot of emphasis and they basically push the crispy. There's, there's both crispy products and it's selling so well.
Wow.
And to take, and yeah, sorry. Yeah, and yeah. We support each other, right? That's why we're here.
That's very interesting topics too, because when you're going to the area that you never know, you bring the original recipe here, you bring the original policy, and you think it's work in other market. But right now you come to Asia,
Yeah,
every market is not the same.
yeah,
Even you say that the recipe might be changed,
Yeah.
and also the taste can be changed. You're going to say that the KFC chicken in Indonesia and in Thailand, in Singapore, the taste is different?
a lot of people tell me different things. Some people say, hey, Tekim, your chicken in Indonesia is better than your chicken in Singapore. Why? I say it's the same size, right? It's the standard, right? There shouldn't be any difference, right?
Yeah, this is like a quality standard.
Yeah.
That you need to do the control,
So
right?
that's why the franchisees sometimes, I shouldn't be saying this, but the quality control is not there, right? So sometimes a customer comes to the restaurant, but the chicken is not good. Why? Because it's past the shelf life. You have a shelf life after the chicken has been cooked,
Yes.
and you're supposed to basically eat it within that period, right? If you eat it past the shelf life, of course, it's just like pizza, you're supposed to eat it within a certain number of minutes, yeah? If you don't, then basically it doesn't taste as good. So if you're the customer, you come to Indonesia and you say, oh, very good quality control, yeah? You
Right.
get very good quality chicken, yeah?
Yes.
But Singapore, maybe standard not so good, yeah?
I think so. It seems like, okay, the chicken in Indonesia might be healthier. Something like that.
Maybe the feeding regime is, better, but I can tell you globally, KFC exercises very strict control on the chicken because it relies on chicken. But in some markets like China, they introduce prawn, They sell prawn because the market is so competitive. Chicken, there's so many other players. McDonald's sells so much chicken. Here McDonald's in Thailand sells like about what? Maybe about 50 to 60% of their product is basically chicken, not burgers. Because it's basically, Thai is, because of religion constraints, yeah. So you find that the burger, because it's beef, you can't sell so much item, right? And the fillet of fish sells very well because it's a fish product, right?
Yes.
So it's very interesting, Seth. That's why I say, it's just one product, chicken, but there's so many different quality aspects, quality control.
Right.
And sometimes the franchisor has got a pool of advisors. The franchisees are actually the advisors. Franchisee will then come to the franchisor and say, hey, I like to introduce this new product. Can I introduce this new product? Yeah? McDonald's, for example, the Big Mac doesn't come from McDonald's Corp. It came from a franchisee, right? Filet of fish doesn't come from basically the McDonald's Corp. It came from a franchisee. And today, those two items are selling so well. right? But the franchisee in Indonesia, the franchisee in China, in Thailand say, I want to sell chicken. Because chicken is basically a staple dietary item and it's cheaper than beef, right? So they say, all right, I will basically, I'll allow the franchisee to basically sell chicken.
Yes. I hear you that international franchise, even the big name, allow and have a permission. It's like open for the agreement to say that the recommendation from franchisee as well. I believe that Dr. Vishai has something to add, right?
It's different. Katie talking about it, franchise, we got, sorry, we call corporate franchise or single franchise. Single franchise, it means individual franchise for each store. Then you cannot create anything. But if you corporate franchise, you got power. You only one franchise in your country that you can create. All the franchisees accept your idea, but they have to taste. You give everything to me, ingredient, whatever, how to operate it, everything. So then they prove after that, they agree. Then you try the market. We call limited offer, LTO. Limited time offer for 2 months, 3 months, like that. If you success, they will keep the recipe and make and take it to their own.
Their own
to
R&D.
other market. Like Indonesia, the curry chicken, right? If it's success, they keep it. Do it in Malaysia and Singapore. The recipe belong to the franchisor.
Even the franchisee
You create
that.
Yes.
Oh, right.
Must be approved. Everything should be approved.
But by the way, they need to get back to franchisor about to approve everything, even to find the raw material, to get the new recipe, everything. Even so, the franchisee cannot sell at that time. Is that right?
Right.
Okay.
So everything should be approved. They write on your franchise agreement. The franchise agreement, we write that you cannot create your new menu unless approved by the franchisor. This is happened. But the individual franchise cannot do anything. You one store in US from 6,000 stores, you cannot do anything. But in Thailand, you have 200 stores, you are the corporate franchise. So they listen a little bit, listen to you. You can create something.
You can create something.
Right.
This is a good thing that I believe in here we have a lot of franchisor that going to avoid other market and thinking that, okay, I'm afraid that my recipe, my formula, and the policy will be changed to other country and we cannot control it. So how could the franchisor control it? Use the agreement only?
Agreement, and they get the inspector or whatever, area manager, area VP, everything, control you, everything. They always come usually once in a quarter. They visit and checking everything. Particularly we call brand return of investment, good brand, best brand return of investment is coming with high demand from the franchisor.
Right.
Royalty fee so high, everything so high. Only the best brand return ROI.
Right.
We coming with that.
You step on that point. I would like to know that. I believe that what you say, if the big brand come to Asia, I believe that they have their own idea and say that if we want to invest, maybe 10 years ago or right now, you can talk about that, they might have expectations about the rate of return. Do you know about that? And can you share about this idea?
Yeah, I guess every franchise business has a certain formula in terms of working return on investment. KFC those days and also McDonald's, we have what we call IRR, internal rate of return, and they have a specific percentage. If you look at the location, and then you say, okay, these are basically the factors. You got food costs, you got labor, and then you take into account rental, operating supplies, and others. And there's a certain fixed percentage that they work, right? If it doesn't give that return, then that location is not considered for development as a restaurant. But sometimes franchisees, okay, I'm talking from the franchisor point of view. Franchisee says, hey, take him, this one is giving me less than the standard. How? Can? Yeah. So you look in terms of the trade area then, as to see whether there's young consumers coming, demographics is increasing, per capita income basically is going to improve in that trade area, and those factors, demographic factors. And then, although it may not come within that stipulated percentage, but you take that into consideration so that it increases over the next 2 or 3 years, and then it will basically, from there on, you find that it will go on, it will exceed the IRR.
The IRR.
Yeah. So sometimes I think the franchisor has got the prerogative, but the franchisor must understand the market. It could be in Thailand, it could be Indonesia, but you must know the market, meaning you must know consumers, you must know the profile, you must know dietary habits, you must know in terms of demographics, you must know in terms of the retail development, shopping center growth, all that.
You have to do the market research, everything.
Right. True. You've got consumer research.
Who pay?
Companies. Sorry?
Who pay?
Who pay for the
very
research?
interesting.
That's a good question, right?
Survey who pay?
From the franchisor's perspective, basically they always say the franchisee pays. Right? But sometimes, right, which we can, franchisor and franchisee has a certain kind of, agreement, they can
Some
say.
franchisor ask you to pay.
Well, franchisor always basically will say franchisee, you have to pay because
recommend that to, you have to get that research.
Because you have to get those numbers, give the numbers back to the franchisor, and then franchisor says, yes, on the basis of this consumer research, you make a conscious decision to basically say yes, okay? As the master franchisee, you can then basically open a restaurant.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, not every restaurant is profitable, right? In all brands, in any kind of restaurant, it can be fast food restaurants, cafes. 100, you may find 60% basically you're profitable, right? Or 70%, and you're lucky if you get that. Right? Because the other 20-30% in any kind of business, you've got what you call the stars, right? And then you've got the dogs.
Yeah.
Right? So the stars will have to cover the dogs, yeah?
Yes.
So from that perspective, if you are an investor, you are willing to basically gamble on that. You are willing to basically take that gamble and say, okay, I open 50 restaurants, but 30 or 35 is basically making money. The other 15 maybe borderline, break even, lose a bit of money, but the stars will cover up the dogs, right? But the investor must have deep pockets, right? If it's a fast food chain, right? I mean, Indonesia, for example, when I left in 1992, 100 restaurants. Today, KFC Indonesia has got 450 restaurants. 450. And it is growing. They're opening like about 25 to 30 restaurants every year. Malaysia also, close to 500 restaurants, KFC restaurants. But one of the big advantages they have is because chicken is staple dietary item besides rice. And it's very affordable. So McDonald's is always playing catch up. Sorry. in these markets in Southeast Asia, McDonald's is playing catch up. They are not the market leader. The market leader is KFC.
Okay.
In China, KFC is the market leader. In Malaysia, KFC is the market leader. In Indonesia, KFC is the market leader. In Thailand, KFC is the market leader.
May I interrupt you a little bit? Can you tell me exact number, IRR or ROI, that international franchise would like to get in the market, in Asia, for example?
Yeah. I mean, normally the IRR is on the basis of, I say, a certain percentage. It's maybe 15%, 16% IRR.
60?
15 to 16.
15 to 16%.
Yeah.
Nice.
But don't quote me, huh?
So you go to some market, but this is a good way to think about that.
Yeah.
We think about the investment, we think about the revenue to come in and control the expenditure. And so you get the right
You see,
IRR like that.
even if you have good IRR, you work out the numbers, right?
Yes.
It gives you a certain percentage. It doesn't mean you are going to basically exceed that, right? Because over the next 2 or 3 years, you don't have control of the market economy. You don't know, right? Department of Statistics will say this trade area, let's say at Plonchit, very good. A lot of people there. But then you may have people moving out from Plonchit, right? And then you have got basically the restaurant is not performing. But when you did the initial survey, the numbers is very good, right?
Right. And how about the Thailand market? That time, you can talk about can you talk about the Otoya a little bit?
Trade secret.
Usually IRR is 15, is not more than 15, it's too high. And if you're more than
50% is too high.
if your business, the margin, the thick, people will come, they worry about you too tired. So they will share you, they will help you. If you are, I can say that your margin, your GP, everything is too high, people will come to help you, make your
ผู้ชม
margin
คะเมื่อสักครู่นี้
thinner.
นะคะท่าน
Always, it's always happen.
ประเด็นที่น่าสนใจมากๆเลยทีเดียวค่ะ แต่ว่าเวลาของเรานะคะหมดลงเฉพาะเบรกนี้เท่านั้นค่ะ เดี๋ยวเราเจอกันใหม่นะคะในเบรกหน้าค่ะ แน่นอนว่าต้องน่าสนใจแล้วก็สนุกสนานแน่นอนค่ะ
ท่านจะรวยไม่หยุดใครจะมาฉุดเอาไม่อยู่